Congratulations! You're living in Salem, Massachusetts. The year is 1692, which means your biggest concerns should be things like surviving winter, avoiding smallpox, and pretending you enjoy your neighbor's cooking. Life isn't glamorous, but it's predictable. And honestly, predictable is underrated. Unfortunately, Salem is about to become very unpredictable. Salem is a tiny community, which means everyone knows everyone, and everyone's business. Martha borrowed flour. Rebecca's son skipped chores. Someone's goat escaped again. Information travels through this town faster than common sense. Keep that in mind. It'll become important later. Then a few girls start behaving strangely. They scream, they shake, they claim invisible forces are tormenting them. Nobody understands what's happening, which would normally lead to patience, investigation, scientific curiosity. Unfortunately, it's 1692. The local doctor examines them. And, after what was probably the medical equivalent of shrugging dramatically, he reaches a conclusion. Witchcraft. That's right, the diagnosis is Satan. Modern medicine may not have existed yet, but confidence certainly did. Panic spreads immediately, because fear is contagious. Someone whispers, someone repeats it, someone exaggerates it. By the end of the day, rumors are multiplying faster than rabbits. Salem isn't asking, "Is this true?" Salem is asking, "Who did this?" And suddenly, people start naming names. The poor woman nobody likes, the outspoken woman who makes people uncomfortable, the outsider. Funny how accusations rarely target the most powerful people in town. Fear has favorites, and they're usually the people least able to defend themselves. At first you watch from a distance. It's terrible, but it isn't your problem. You shake your head, you whisper, people are losing their minds. Then you go home, because surely logic will eventually enter the conversation, right? It does not. In fact, Salem doubles down. The accusations become official. Testimonies are taken, judges listen carefully, and suddenly people's dreams and strange feelings are being treated like evidence. The legal system is having a rough year. Dinner conversations change. Nobody jokes anymore. People lower their voices. They wonder who's next. Your neighbor seems nervous. Your cousin avoids eye contact. The town feels smaller somehow, like the walls themselves are listening. Then, one afternoon, you catch someone staring. They stop talking when you walk past. Another person refuses to meet your eyes. Maybe it's nothing. Maybe you're imagining it. After all, these things happen to other people, not you. You go to sleep telling yourself that tomorrow will be normal. You have no idea that Salem has already started learning your name. The next morning, people are behaving weird, more weird than usual. Conversations stop when you walk by. Smiles look forced. A woman you've known for years suddenly becomes fascinated by the contents of her basket. It's probably nothing, right? After all, paranoia is exactly what Salem has enough of. Church used to be predictable. Long sermons, uncomfortable benches, trying not to fall asleep. Today, however, it feels like half the room is checking whether you have horns hidden under your bonnet, which is concerning, mostly because you don't. You try acting normal. You help your neighbors. You wave politely. You carry firewood, because that's what innocent people do. Unfortunately, Salem has reached the point where trying too hard to seem innocent feels suspicious. Congratulations, existing is becoming complicated. Then you hear your name,
quietly, hidden between whispers, followed by that awful phrase, "I heard." You don't know what they heard or who said it first, but rumors don't need facts, they just need an audience. You ask your family if they're worried. They say no, too quickly. Then they avoid looking at you, which somehow feels worse, because fear doesn't only destroy trust between strangers, it creeps into homes too. Then, one afternoon, there's a knock at the door. Not the friendly kind, not the borrowing sugar kind, the official kind. The kind that makes your stomach drop before anyone says a word. You already know this isn't good. Congratulations, you're officially becoming someone else's problem. You are accused of witchcraft, which would be ridiculous if it weren't potentially fatal. Yesterday you were a regular person. Today, apparently, Satan knows your address. Of course, you deny it, because you're innocent. You explain. You defend yourself. You ask for evidence, actual evidence. But Salem isn't really in the mood for that anymore. Fear rarely enjoys being questioned. The evidence against you is creative. Someone dreamed about you. Someone felt uncomfortable around you. A girl says your spirit pinched her. You stare at everyone in disbelief. Surely this can't be enough. Surely. Unfortunately, it is. By the end of the day, you're sitting in a jail cell, trying to understand how your life unraveled so quickly. You woke up worrying about chores. You planned dinner. You assumed there would be a tomorrow. Then, one day, someone told a story about you, and suddenly, that story mattered more than the person you actually were. Here at Blooming Persimmon, we can't rewrite endings.
We can't give back the mornings that fear stole, but we can sit beside